If you're a man over 60 and you've been waking up feeling tired, low on energy, or disconnected from your own body, I want to tell you something that most people won't. It's not your age. And it's not because you're doing anything wrong. It's because your body is missing something it desperately needs, but only during a very specific window of time, and that's at night, just before bed. Now, that may surprise you. Most men are told to focus on what they do during the day. Eat clean, take walks, maybe lift some weights. But the truth is, your body doesn't rebuild when you're awake. It rebuilds when you're asleep. Your muscles, your hormones, your blood vessels, they all repair and recharge during the night. But here's the catch. They can only do that if you give them the right fuel. I've spent over 30 years working with men in their 60s, 70s, even into their 80s. And again, I've seen the same quiet frustration in their eyes. "Doc, I'm doing everything I can. Why do I still feel this way?" They tell me they're eating well, staying active, avoiding bad habits, and yet they're still tired, still weak, still struggling with energy and intimacy. And what I discovered again and again was that the missing piece wasn't discipline or desire. It was timing. It was about what they were, or weren't, giving their bodies at night. You see, most men go to bed with an empty tank. No protein, no circulation nutrients, no hormone support. They assume that skipping food before bed is the healthy thing to do. But for men over 60, that belief can quietly backfire. Without the right nutrients at the right time, the body can't do its job overnight. It can't repair tissue. It can't restore blood flow. It can't balance hormones. And over time, that quiet deficit adds up. You wake up feeling like you've aged 5 years in a single night. You lose energy, confidence, even a sense of being fully alive in your own skin. But here's the hopeful part. It doesn't take a major overhaul to turn things around. Sometimes, all it takes is one small change. One spoonful of the right food at the right time. I've watched men come back to life. Not with surgery or prescriptions, but with a simple nightly habit that gives their body the message it's been waiting for. It's time to heal. Think about this. What if your body isn't breaking down because you're getting older, but because you're not giving it the materials it needs to rebuild? What if you could feel stronger, more rested, more connected, not months from now, but within days, just by adjusting what you do in the last hour before bed? In this conversation, I'll walk with you through the exact foods, habits, and timing that can help your body do what it was always designed to do. Because you're not broken, you're rebuildable. And it starts tonight with one small choice made at just the right time. So let's take the first step together. Of all the foods I've recommended to men over the years, the one that still surprises them the most is this. 2 soft-boiled eggs, eaten about 1 hour before bed. Not in the morning, not at lunch, but at night, when the body is preparing to heal. I know it sounds too simple to be powerful, but what I've seen in my patients tells a very different story. Let me take you back to a conversation I had with a man named Walter. He was 68 years old, a retired math teacher, clear-headed and responsible. He walked into my office one afternoon and sat down with a quiet sigh. "Doc," he said, "I've been doing everything right. I take my vitamins, I walk every day, I eat clean, but I still wake up feeling drained. My mornings don't feel like mine anymore." Then he paused for a moment before adding, "And my erections, they're nowhere near what they used to be. Now, instead of reaching for a prescription pad, I reach for something ordinary, a food most of us have in our kitchens." I said, "Walter, tonight I want you to eat 2 soft-boiled eggs before bed." He looked at me like I'd just suggested something out of a cooking show. "Eggs? Before bed?" I nodded. "Soft-boiled? 1 hour before you turn in, that's it. Here's why. Soft-boiled eggs are rich in leucine, an amino acid that triggers the release of nitric oxide in the body. Nitric oxide is the molecule that relaxes and expands your blood vessels, allowing more blood to flow through. And that's not just important for heart health. It's absolutely essential for circulation in the areas that matter most to your confidence and your connection. When nitric oxide levels are low, erections become weaker, more inconsistent, or disappear altogether. But when you give your body what it needs to produce nitric oxide, like leucine from eggs, things begin to change. Blood vessels soften, flow improves, and function begins to return, even in your 60s or 70s. Soft-boiled eggs also contain vitamin D, which supports testosterone production, and vitamin B12, which helps boost nerve sensitivity and energy. And unlike heavier meals that can disrupt sleep or spike your blood sugar, soft-boiled or poached eggs are light, easy to digest, and ideal for late-night nourishment. Walter took my advice. For 10 nights straight, he ate 2 soft-boiled eggs about an hour before bed. When he came back to my office, I saw the change before he said a word. He walked taller, his face looked brighter, and with a smile, he said, "Doc, I don't know what you did to me, but my wife says thank you." We both laughed, but underneath that moment was a deeper truth. This wasn't magic. It was biology, it was consistency, it was one simple act of care, done at the right time. You see, your body doesn't always need more effort. Sometimes it just needs the right signal. And for many men, that signal is as small and powerful as 2 soft-boiled eggs. They don't just provide nutrients. They deliver a message to your body that says, we're still building, we still care, we're not giving up. So the next time you open your fridge before bed, don't overlook what seems ordinary. The most effective medicine might be sitting right there, waiting for you. Quiet, simple, and stronger than you think. There's something quietly powerful about almond butter. It doesn't look like medicine. It doesn't make any bold promises. But for many men over 60, 1 tablespoon before bed has changed the way they sleep, the way they feel, and the way they connect with the people they love. Carl was one of those men. He was 74, a widower with a calm voice and thoughtful eyes. He came into my office dressed neatly, polite but reserved. When we sat down, he looked at me and said, "Doc, I take care of myself. I walk every day. I eat clean. I even meditate. But intimacy, it's slipping away, and I don't know what else to try." I nodded, then leaned in. "Carl," I said, "you're doing a lot of things right, but there's something small I want you to try. 1 tablespoon of almond butter before bed." He blinked at me, half expecting a joke. "Nut butter? That's going to fix this?" I smiled gently. "Not just fix it, support it. And not just your performance, your sleep, your blood flow, your recovery. You see, most men don't realize that our arteries are wrapped in a layer of smooth muscle. That muscle needs to relax for blood to flow fully and freely. Almond butter is rich in magnesium, a mineral that acts like a warm bath for those muscles. It calms tension, lowers nighttime blood pressure, and helps your circulation move the way it was meant to. It also contains arginine, an amino acid that your body converts into nitric oxide. That molecule, as you may remember, is the spark that opens blood vessels and brings oxygen-rich blood to the places that have quietly been underperforming. Combine that with the healthy fats in almond butter, which support natural testosterone production, and you've got something far more than a bedtime snack. You've got a biological reset, 1 spoon at a time. But there's another benefit that's often overlooked. Almond butter helps stabilize blood sugar overnight. That means fewer crashes, more balanced hormones, and a deeper, more restorative sleep. And as I've said many times before, it's during that sleep that your body reboots. Testosterone pulses, growth hormone rises, your circulatory system recharges. That's not theory, that's physiology. Carl took it seriously. He didn't overthink it. Sometimes he spread the almond butter on a slice of whole grain toast. Other nights, he simply took a spoonful straight from the jar. Within 2 weeks, he came back with a new energy in his step. Before I even said a word, he smiled and said, "Doc, I feel lighter, more present." And let's just say, my lady friend noticed too. That's the beauty of real nutrition. It doesn't shout, it doesn't push. It just supports your body in doing what it was designed to do. 1 spoonful of almond butter becomes more than just a food. It becomes a signal, a reminder to your biology that strength, desire, and connection are still possible. If you've been feeling like your body isn't cooperating the way it used to, maybe it's not about willpower or age. Maybe it's about giving your body what it needs when it needs it most. And sometimes, that starts with something as small as a spoonful of almond butter. Simple, familiar, and quietly transformative. Some foods carry memories. For me, tart cherry juice brings back summers at my grandmother's house. She always kept these deep red bottles tucked away in the fridge. Dark, rich, and almost medicinal in color. Back then, it was just a treat. But now, as a doctor, I see that tart cherry juice might be one of the most powerful tools a man over 60 can use to reclaim his energy, his sleep, and even his connection with the person he loves. I remember a patient named Leonard. He was 69, a retired bus driver with decades of clean living behind him. He ate well, he walked every day, he didn't drink, and he kept his mind sharp. But one afternoon, he sat in my office and lowered his voice. "Doc," he said, "I'm still in love with my wife. I want to be close to her, but when the moment comes, my body just doesn't respond. It's like it leaves the room." That line stayed with me, because Leonard didn't have a lack of desire. He had a lack of support, deep inside his nervous system, his blood vessels, and his hormones. And it all pointed back to something we often overlook: sleep. Not just time in bed, but real, deep, restorative sleep. That's where tart cherry juice comes in. You see, unsweetened tart cherry juice is one of nature's richest sources of melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it's time to rest and repair. But that's only part of the story. Tart cherries also contain anthocyanins, powerful antioxidants that reduce inflammation and help your body produce more nitric oxide. That means, while you sleep, your blood vessels soften, relax, and open up, bringing circulation back to your heart, your brain, and yes, even to your manhood. Better sleep means better hormone regulation. Testosterone production kicks in, growth hormone rises, your entire system starts to recover. That's what Leonard was missing. Not motivation, not effort, but biology working in his favor. I told him to start small. Just half a glass, about 4 to 6 ounces, 30 minutes before bed. No sugar, no added flavors, just pure tart cherry juice. Within a few nights, he was falling asleep faster. By the second week, he said, "Doc, I'm waking up with energy. I feel more present, and let's just say, my mornings are a little more exciting again." But what touched me most wasn't what he said, it was how he said it. His voice had a quiet pride again. He hadn't taken a drug. He hadn't forced a result. He simply gave his body the raw materials it needed to do what it already knew how to do. That's the power of sleep, and that's the beauty of tart cherry juice. When sleep deepens, blood flow returns, hormones stabilize, and the man you remember being, that man starts to return. Not because you've done something drastic, but because you made one small, intentional choice before bed. A glass of deep red, filled not with sugar or promises, but with the kind of nourishment your body still responds to, especially now. So if you've been waking up tired, foggy, or disconnected, don't overlook what's waiting in the back of your fridge. Sometimes, healing begins with half a glass of something your grandmother once called a treat. And now, it just might become your quiet ally in feeling like yourself again. It's funny how the foods we used to throw away turn out to be the ones we need most. Years ago, every fall, my family and I would carve pumpkins with the kids. We'd scoop out the seeds, wipe our hands clean, and toss them straight into the trash without a second thought. Back then, they were just a mess to clean up. But today, I see those little seeds in a very different light. Pumpkin seeds are one of the most powerful, underrated tools for men over 60, especially at night. And I learned that lesson from a patient named Don. He was 66, a retired engineer with a mind built for precision. When Don came into my office, he didn't talk about energy or testosterone or sleep, not at first. He sat down, looked me in the eye, and said, "Doc, I'm exhausted. Every night I wake up 2, sometimes 3 times to pee. By morning, I feel like I've run a marathon. I'm foggy, I'm frustrated, and frankly, I'm fed up." I looked at his chart, and everything made sense. Slightly enlarged prostate, rising blood pressure, poor circulation, and low energy. I asked him, "Are you giving your body the minerals it needs to repair overnight?" He raised an eyebrow and said, "Like what? Multivitamins?" I smiled, "Like pumpkin seeds." Here's why. Pumpkin seeds are loaded with exactly what aging male bodies are craving: magnesium to relax blood vessels, lower nighttime blood pressure, and ease muscle tension. Zinc to support testosterone and shrink the prostate. And tryptophan, an amino acid that increases serotonin and melatonin, helping you sleep deeper and longer. But the real secret lies in something called phytosterols. These are plant compounds that have been shown to reduce the size of an enlarged prostate and improve urinary flow. That means fewer nighttime bathroom trips, better rest, and improved circulation to the entire pelvic region. I told Don to start with 1 to 2 tablespoons of raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds before bed. He could eat them plain, toss them into a small bowl of yogurt, or mix them with banana slices. Nothing fancy, just something simple and consistent. 2 weeks later, he came back and said, "Doc, I'm only getting up once now, and sometimes not at all. I haven't slept this well in years." A month after that, his clarity was back. His walks felt easier. And then he said something I didn't expect. "My wife says I seem sharper, stronger, even more present." That's the quiet magic of giving your body what it's been missing. Not a medication, not a procedure, just real food, rich in minerals, taken at the right time. Pumpkin seeds don't make headlines, but they make a difference. And for men dealing with prostate issues, they offer real hope, without side effects, without disruption, and without delay. So the next time you see those tiny seeds in the produce aisle, or think about tossing them from a fall harvest, pause. Your body may be asking for exactly what they offer. And if you're waking up at night feeling drained or disconnected, maybe the answer isn't more sleep. It's better sleep. Sleep supported by the nutrients that help your body calm, repair, and come back into balance. Sometimes, the most ordinary food holds the key to restoring the part of you that's been quietly fading. And all it takes is a small handful, offered with care at just the right hour. Robert was the kind of man you could spot across the room. Broad shoulders, a strong handshake, the quiet confidence of someone who had spent his life leading others. For decades, he coached high school athletes, helping young men grow stronger, not just in body, but in character. But when he walked into my office at 70, there was something different in his eyes. Not weakness, not fear, just a quiet fatigue, like a man who still wanted to give his best, but didn't feel like he had much left. He looked at me and said, "Doc, I love my life, I love my wife, but lately I feel like I'm just coasting. My sleep is broken, my mornings are slow, and it feels like my body doesn't bounce back the way it used to." Then he paused and with some hesitation added, "Honestly, it feels like the spark is gone." I asked him a simple question, "What do you eat before bed?" He looked confused. "Nothing. I thought eating before bed was bad for you." That's a belief I hear often, especially from men over 60. And while it might make sense in theory, the truth is this: when chosen wisely and timed correctly, a small nighttime meal can completely change how your body repairs and regenerates during sleep. And one of the best foods for this? Greek yogurt. Cool, creamy, and often overlooked, Greek yogurt is packed with 2 types of protein that work together like a well-tuned team. Whey protein is fast-absorbing. It starts helping your muscles repair in the first few hours of sleep. Casein protein is slower. It digests over 6 to 8 hours, feeding your muscles steadily through the night. For men over 60, that's essential. Because as we age, our bodies naturally break down more muscle while we sleep. Without replenishment, we lose strength little by little. But Greek yogurt does more than support muscle. It's rich in calcium, which helps regulate blood pressure and relax your blood vessels at night. It also contains B vitamins that support nerve function, testosterone metabolism, and energy production. And when paired with chia seeds, berries, or a drizzle of raw honey, it becomes a complete nighttime tonic, supporting sleep, hormones, and recovery. Robert took the suggestion seriously. Each night, about an hour before bed, he made a small bowl: Greek yogurt, a spoonful of chia seeds, a dash of cinnamon, and a few slices of banana. Nothing fancy, just a habit. Within 3 weeks, he returned with new life in his posture. He looked me in the eye and said, "Doc, I wake up ready now. I don't just get through the day, I lead it." That's the power of feeding your body what it needs when it needs it, not through extreme changes or complicated plans, but through small, intentional acts of care. If these insights are starting to resonate with you and you'd like to keep learning more about natural ways to restore your energy and confidence, go ahead and click subscribe. That way, you won't miss the rest of this powerful series. You've already taken the first step by listening. Let's keep going together. Sometimes, the simplest foods carry the deepest power. A ripe banana, soft and sweet, may seem like nothing more than a convenient snack. But when timed right, especially before bed, it becomes a quiet partner in your body's nightly process of healing, recovery, and renewal. Let me tell you about Jerome. He was 72, a retired mechanic who had worked with his hands all his life. When he came into my clinic, he joked, "Doc, these hands used to fix everything. Cars, washing machines, even my neighbor's stubborn lawnmower. But these days, I can't even fix my own sleep." I smiled, and we sat down. As we talked, it became clear that his trouble wasn't just about insomnia. It was deeper. Restlessness in his legs, tingling in his feet, and a sense that his energy was thinning, like a wire slowly losing current. This wasn't unusual. Many men over 60 experience similar sensations, especially at night. What's happening? Often, it's a combination of mineral imbalances, poor circulation, and nervous system tension. Issues that seem small, but over time, wear down your vitality. That's when I told Jerome about bananas. Not just any bananas, but ripe ones with a few brown spots. Why? Because at that stage, bananas are rich in potassium and magnesium, two minerals your nerves and muscles rely on to relax. Potassium helps regulate blood pressure and supports steady heart rhythm. Magnesium calms the nervous system and allows blood vessels to dilate, improving blood flow throughout the body. But there's more. Bananas are also a natural source of vitamin B6, which helps the body produce serotonin, a neurotransmitter that lifts mood and supports restful sleep. That serotonin eventually converts into melatonin, your body's own sleep hormone. So when you eat a banana before bed, you're not just feeding your muscles, you're feeding your brain the chemicals it needs to relax and reset. I told Jerome to eat one ripe banana about 30 to 45 minutes before bed. Nothing added, nothing fancy, just peel, eat, and breathe. He followed through. A few days later, he called and said, "Doc, I don't know if it's the banana or the belief, but my legs feel quieter. My sleep is deeper. And for the first time in months, I don't wake up tired." That's not just coincidence, it's physiology. Bananas help smooth the electric signals in your nervous system. They relax the muscles that hold tension. They stabilize your blood sugar so you don't crash overnight. And they support blood flow to the places that matter most, your brain, your heart, and your reproductive system. There's a beauty in simplicity. No need for pills, powders, or complex rituals. Just a ripe banana. Something you can hold in your hand. Something your body knows how to use. So if you've been feeling restless, waking up in the night, or sensing that your energy just isn't traveling like it used to, don't underestimate the power of what's already in your kitchen. Sometimes, it's not about doing more, it's about doing one small thing with consistency and care. One banana, one evening. One step toward reclaiming the strength and stillness that's always been yours. There's something poetic about walnuts. Shaped like the human brain, rich with oils that nourish both body and mind, they've been a part of traditional medicine for centuries. But what makes them especially valuable for men over 60 happens quietly, while we sleep. I remember Harold, a 74-year-old painter with silver hair and a gentle voice. He told me, "Dr. Bennett, I still have ideas. I still have love in my heart, but my body doesn't always cooperate." What he meant was this: his desire for connection was still alive, but his physical response, his energy, his confidence was fading. He wasn't looking for a miracle, he was looking for dignity. As we talked, I asked him about his diet. He ate lean, mostly plant-based meals, stayed away from sugar, but avoided all fats. I thought fats were the enemy, he said. That's a common belief, and a dangerous one, especially when it comes to male hormones. Testosterone, the key hormone for drive, vitality, and mood, is built from fat. And walnuts, in particular, contain the kind of fat your body knows exactly what to do with. Alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 that supports hormone production and reduces inflammation in blood vessels. That means better circulation to your brain, your heart, and your reproductive system, all critical for feeling like yourself again. But walnuts also contain L-arginine, an amino acid that helps your body produce nitric oxide. That's the same compound your blood vessels release to relax and expand, improving blood flow throughout the body. For older men, this can make a profound difference, not just in cardiovascular health, but in physical intimacy and recovery after activity. I encouraged Harold to make a small change, about a handful of walnuts, roughly 1 ounce, before bed, not roasted in oil or coated in sugar, just raw or lightly toasted, maybe with a few dark berries or a slice of pear. 3 weeks later, he came back for a checkup. His blood pressure was lower. His hands didn't tremble as much when he painted. And he said, "Dr. Bennett, I don't know if it's the nuts or the nights, but I feel more like me. I feel solid." That moment reminded me why I love this work. Because real healing doesn't always come with big headlines or dramatic transformations. Sometimes it arrives quietly, in a stronger morning step, a clearer thought, or a more confident embrace. Walnuts aren't magic, but they are medicine. Real, natural, slow-working nourishment that gives your body what it's been quietly asking for. And when eaten at night, they support the hormones that rebuild you, the vessels that carry life through you, and the nervous system that calms you down to rest. So if you've been running low on drive or waking up feeling like your tank is empty, take a moment to ask, what am I giving my body to rebuild with? One small handful of walnuts, nothing more, nothing less, could be the gentle push your system needs to come back into rhythm. Not because you're trying to be young again, but because you're choosing to be well. Not long ago, I met Gerald, age 69, former Navy officer, now a grandfather of 5. He was strong in spirit, proud of his discipline, but lately he felt like his body wasn't responding the way it used to. "I still go for my morning walks, still lift light weights," he told me, "but recovery is slow. I sleep through the night, yet I wake up tired. What am I missing?" His routine was structured, his meals clean, but one thing stood out. He skipped dinner often, or ate very light, sometimes just a cup of tea. "I don't want to gain weight," he explained. I nodded, but I also knew that at his age, his body needed support. Not less fuel, but smarter fuel, especially at night. That's when I recommended something simple, something affordable, something he already had in his fridge, a boiled egg, or 2. Boiled eggs may seem basic, but they're one of the most complete sources of nourishment for men over 60. They contain all 9 essential amino acids, which your body uses to rebuild muscle during deep sleep. That's important, because after 60, we naturally lose muscle mass at a faster rate, unless we supply the building blocks consistently. But eggs go beyond protein. They're rich in vitamin D, which plays a direct role in testosterone production and immune function. They also contain choline, a nutrient critical for brain health and hormone regulation. Then they offer a gentle dose of selenium and B vitamins, which work together to stabilize mood and support cellular repair. The best part? Boiled eggs are easy on the stomach. Unlike heavy meals that disrupt digestion and delay sleep, eggs digest smoothly and support stable blood sugar levels throughout the night. That means less tossing and turning and more time spent in the deep, restorative phases of sleep. I advised Gerald to eat 1 or 2 boiled eggs about an hour before bed, ideally with a few slices of avocado or a spoon of sauerkraut for gut health. He was hesitant at first. "Eggs at night?" he asked. I smiled. "Yes, they don't just belong at breakfast." 2 weeks later, he came back with a different glow. "I'm not as stiff in the mornings," he said, "and I actually feel like my strength is coming back." I didn't realize how underfueled I was. It's easy to overlook foods that don't come with fancy labels or exotic names, but often it's the simplest things, done with intention, that bring the biggest shift. A boiled egg is more than a snack. It's a signal to your body that you are choosing to rebuild, to protect, to care for what matters most. So if you've been trying to age well but feel like your progress is stalling, ask yourself, are you giving your body what it needs before sleep? 1 or 2 boiled eggs, quietly prepared and eaten with presence, might be the difference between waking up sore or waking up ready. Because at the end of the day, aging gracefully isn't about doing more. It's about doing the right things, at the right time, with consistency and care. You've just explored 8 powerful foods, each with its own quiet strength, each offering your body something essential it may have been missing. But now comes the most important part: how to bring these foods into your life in a way that's realistic, sustainable, and healing. I've worked with men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s for more than 3 decades. And what I've learned is this: lasting change doesn't come from overhauling everything at once. It comes from choosing one small step and sticking with it. So here's a gentle plan to help you begin. It's not a diet, it's not a rule book, it's an invitation. Over the next 7 days, I encourage you to try adding one of these foods each evening, about 60 to 90 minutes before bedtime. Notice how your body feels. Track your sleep, your energy in the morning, and your sense of well-being. Day 1, start with a banana. Let it be ripe, soft, and easy. Eat it slowly, letting the magnesium and potassium calm your nerves and support steady circulation through the night. Day 2, add a spoonful of pumpkin seeds. Rich in zinc and magnesium, they'll begin to feed your nervous system and support testosterone production gently. Day 3, try a serving of Greek yogurt. Smooth, cooling, and protein-rich, it will help repair muscle tissue and stabilize your hormones overnight. Day 4, include a boiled egg or two. Simple, powerful, and protein-dense eggs are a complete nighttime building block, supporting strength, hormones, and mental clarity. Day 5, enjoy a small handful of walnuts. Their healthy fats support hormone function, brain health, and blood vessel flexibility. Day 6, have a few slices of avocado or an ounce of dark chocolate. Both offer magnesium, healthy fats, and support nitric oxide production for better circulation. Day 7, create your own blend. Choose 2 or 3 of your favorite options and make a calming, nourishing nighttime plate. This isn't about perfection. It's about listening to your body and offering it the care it's been quietly asking for. You might be wondering, will something this small really make a difference? My answer is yes. Not because of the calories or nutrients alone, but because of what it represents. Every time you choose to feed your body with intention, you're telling yourself, I'm not giving up. I still matter. I still deserve to feel strong, rested, and alive. The men who experience the biggest changes aren't always the most disciplined. They're the ones who stay curious, who try, observe, and adjust, who treat their health not as a burden, but as a form of respect. So as you move forward, I invite you to build your own rhythm. Find the foods that make you feel grounded. Create an evening ritual you actually look forward to. And remember, healing doesn't happen in a rush. It unfolds quietly, in the small choices you make each day. If this message has spoken to you, if you've seen yourself in these stories and felt a spark of hope, I encourage you to keep exploring. Keep choosing what nourishes you, and know that no matter where you are in your journey, it's never too late to rebuild from the inside out. If you've come this far, I want to take a quiet moment to thank you. Not just for watching or listening, but for allowing yourself to slow down, to reflect, and to consider a new path. That in itself is an act of strength. And for men over 60, choosing strength isn't always about lifting weights or running miles. Sometimes it's as simple as choosing to care, gently, consistently, for the body that's carried you through so many seasons. The truth is, growing older is not a decline. It's a shift, a transition into a chapter where energy moves differently, where healing takes its time, and where wisdom speaks louder than urgency. But that doesn't mean you have to settle for fatigue, low desire, or restless nights. You still have tools, natural, powerful, and right within reach. Throughout this journey, we've explored 8 simple foods. Not pills, not prescriptions, just real whole nourishment that works in harmony with your body's rhythms. Foods that rebuild muscle, support hormone balance, calm the nervous system, and restore restful sleep. These are not temporary tricks. They're daily companions, quiet allies on your path to restoration. Maybe as you listened, you recognized parts of yourself in the stories. Jerome, who couldn't fix his own sleep, Harold, who found strength in walnuts, or Gerald, whose boiled eggs brought him back to balance. Maybe you saw your own longings, your own worries, and maybe, for the first time in a while, you felt understood. That matters. Because the path to healing isn't just physical, it's emotional, it's spiritual. It begins in the simple question, what do I need right now? And then, the even braver step, to listen and respond with care. You don't have to do everything at once. You don't need to be perfect. Even choosing one small change, one banana before bed, one egg to rebuild, can begin to turn the tide. Because every good night's sleep becomes a better morning, and every better morning becomes a stronger day, and that, over time, becomes a renewed life. I've seen this happen, not just in clinics, but in kitchens, bedrooms, and quiet corners, where men like you decided they were worth the effort. And I believe it can happen for you too. So wherever you are in your journey, whether you're just beginning or finding your way back after a difficult stretch, know this: there is still more to feel, more to give, more to live. You're not too old, you're not too late. You're simply at a point where healing can begin with intention, not intensity. Let this be a turning point. Let food become more than fuel. Let it become a message of care. Let sleep become more than rest. Let it become renewal. Let this night be different from the last, not because you did more, but because you did what truly mattered. You've given your time, now give yourself grace. You've listened with an open heart, now live with a nourished one. And above all, remember, your energy, your desire, your peace, they are not gone, they're waiting for you to say yes. One meal, one night, one choice at a time. If this message has touched something in you, and you'd like more practical guidance to rebuild your health naturally, feel free to subscribe so you don't miss the gentle steps ahead.